After Dittophobia came out, I made a pretty bold claim that literally all of FNAF 4 is fake. Not to say that it's a game or anything, but to say that literally none of it happened. It could all be a simulation by William Afton to either study fear or maybe recreate the life of the crying child that did happen. The goals are unclear, and admittedly, at the time it was kind of a stretch. But knowing what we do now, especially after Secret of the Mimic, I think I was right. Slices, put on your aprons and let's bake ourselves a theory. So why do I think FNAF 4 is entirely fake? Again, it has to do with the story Dittophobia, a short story from the 8th volume of Tales of the Pizzaplex, B72. In the story, a boy named Rory is essentially experiencing exactly what we see in FNAF 4. He's having a horrific nightmare where his doors won't shut, his closet keeps opening, and animatronics keep attacking him. Freddy, Chica, Bonnie, and Foxy. But after he's caught, he wakes up, and we get to see his day-to-day life. He goes to get ready for school, he gets his stuff together, eats a little bit of breakfast out of the fridge, but he needs to brush his teeth and take a shower. But his mom is in the bathroom. So he waits around and keeps knocking on the door, but there's no answer. She just won't get out of the shower. Eventually, he wanders around the house long enough that it feels like lunch is already here and he starts getting tired. So he just figures, he missed today at school, he'll try again tomorrow, lays down and goes to sleep, only to have the nightmare again. However, near the end of this nightmare, something in this facility stops working. Hissing stops. Hallucinogenic gas stops being pumped into wherever Rory actually is. And once he wakes up, the house he once knew is now dingy and run down. It looks more like a warehouse that kind of resembles a house. What's more is there are mannequins on sticks that all resemble the animatronics that have plagued his nightmares, exactly where they would need to be to start encroaching upon his bedroom. He gets up to go around and notices he is significantly larger. He's taller, his voice is deeper, he feels strange, and eventually he gets to see a mirror where the reflection is unrecognizable. There's Rory down there somewhere, but he's maybe a decade older than what he thought he was. He continues to explore and finds out that the things he's been eating in the fridge are nutrient-dense bars that can keep somebody alive but are barely qualifiable as food. And behind them is a secret passage, one that he enters to find a machine that has been pumping hallucinogenic gas into this facility to make that bare bones layout look a lot more realistic and make it so that he seemed like he didn't change at all. He finds documentation next to the machine to show that somebody was studying what prolonged fear with no respite would do to a human psyche. So he continues to look around this facility, and we as the reader begin to recognize it as the sister location bunker, until eventually he finds what seems to be an elevator up and a walkie-talkie, his old walkie-talkie. He tries talking into it, and somehow his childhood friend hears it and picks up. He tells him he's astonished that he's alive and everyone gave up years ago, but he'll call the police. Rory just needs to work on getting out of there. If the elevator doesn't work, maybe he needs to turn on the power somewhere. So Rory continues to investigate, and eventually he does find the power switch for that facility, but as he opens it, a voice comes over the intercom. A calming voice, one that lets him know that the outside world isn't right for him. He's been in here for years. Whatever is out there won't recognize him. It won't know what to do with him. He'll be poked at and prodded and brought on show tours to be shown off. A world that he already didn't fit into. After all, Rory, that's why you ran away in the first place. That's why you came here. That world never cared for you. But here, in this world, you'll be safe. You'll have somewhere that's home. And can you really blame a kid who's been trapped here for nearly a decade being easy to manipulate? Rory resigns that the voice is right. He walks back to the machine and turns the gas back on, choosing to live in ignorance than face whatever is to come. And he goes back to his bedroom and lies down to sleep. The most insidious thing about this, as he does this, the story pans back to where that voice came from, and a tape recorder clicks and begins to rewind. None of it was real, not even the voice talking to him. It is a crazy depressing story. Dittophobia, frankly, not even that scary. It is incredibly sad though. It makes me feel really bad every time I run it. Essentially, this story is showing us that William Afton ran experiments on humans to see what prolonged fear would do to them. And it's an automatic system. So even if he disappears one day, if somebody's in there, they're never getting out. Now, what's weird though, is that even though the nightmares were incredibly similar to FNAF 4, Dittophobia, and likely all of Tales from the Pizzaplex, is dubiously canon. It takes place in a separate timeline. It's a part of the canon of Five Nights at Freddy's, but it's not in the same continuity as the games. Secret of the Mimic pretty clearly showed that. But if this is something that could happen, did it happen in the game's timeline? Now, right away, I want to clarify, I'm not trying to say that Rory is the main character of FNAF 4. Whatever this story is, I don't think it actually happened within the game's timeline of Five Nights at Freddy's. But let's examine what we do know about FNAF 4 and see if anything from that story applies here. After all, even though in the game itself, this seems like a nightmare, in the very next game of Sister Location, we see monitors showing the rooms we were just in next to a walkie-talkie inside of a Fredbear plushie. You know, the Fredbear plushie that talks to the crying child, like a walkie-talkie would. On top of all of that, we get the fuse map. This thing that you kind of look at while you're protecting yourself from Funtime Freddy has a lot of weird things about it. Like, obviously we have the major map of Sister Location, but then there's that room, which looks a lot like the FNAF 4 layout. And then there's this room, which looks a lot like the daytime minigame layout. And then there's this room, which looks a lot like Fun with Plush Trap. Like, there's weirdness here. Why would the fuses of a hallway, the bedroom and hallways adjacent to it, and the sidewalk and Fredbear's and house all need to be on this fuse map? Even if we're to give the benefit of the doubt that the FNAF 4 house and Fredbear's and the sidewalk all have their powers linked up to the fuses in Sister Location, which is strange enough. Why are they listed twice? The entirety of the FNAF 4 house is supposedly here. Why is it also here and here? That's suspicious. Also, if you couldn't tell, I got a new green screen, so I'm having some fun with it. Hopefully it looks good. I don't know. This is the test and the first time I'm using it. Not to mention on that fuse map, the suspicious fuse map we just brought up, all these fuse locations aren't like lights or power grids. They're where animatronics are, or at least animatronics could be. So why are all these animatronics being powered by the fuse map in Sister Location if it's not even connected? So even before Dittophobia came out, people were confused about FNAF 4. Was it nightmares, or is there some weird experiment going on that we're not privy to? For a long time, many people, myself included, assumed that this fuse map, and these monitors, and that walkie-talkie is just Sister Location trying to show us that while William Afton was doing experiments in the Sister Location bunker, he was also monitoring his child, the crying child, and also had his oldest son, Michael Afton, monitor him as well, watching the crying child go to Fredbear's, watching the older brother terrorize the child, possibly even speaking to him through the Fredbear plushie. Like I mentioned, we have that walkie-talkie. If that's purposeful, then all these times the Fredbear plushie is like, oh, don't go there, oh, don't listen to him. That's William intercomming in just to keep his son on the right track while he watches him from these monitors. And sure, you can make that argument, but it never fully made sense. After all, we get this Easter egg in the FNAF 4 minigames themselves, where we see a purple guy helping someone into a suit. And sure, not every purple guy is William Afton, but a guy in the shadows, colored in as purple, helping somebody get into a Springlock suit feels like a William thing. Not to mention the general layout itself. Look at Midnight Motorist. If you are to make the assumption that this building is where Fredbear's was, and it's juniors at this point in the timeline, and that this building is the Afton household, which I think is fair, right? Looking into the general layout of Secret of the Mimic, which we'll get into where this game comes into play later, if we are to assume that the Murray's Costume Manor house and factory turn into FNAF 4 and Fredbear's, then this map is almost one-to-one, right? We have a big parking lot with a restaurant, and then a winding road in the woods to a house. That lines up super good. You know what doesn't line up? Any of this, where it's a house that doesn't even look like the FNAF 4 Nightmare Chambers. It doesn't have the same layout, and that house is a sidewalk path away and half a block from Fredbear's. That doesn't make sense. This lines up. That doesn't line up. You know what it does line up to, though? The fuse map. So what's going on here?
Oh, can I see?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Oh, she's covered. Let me.
Oh, hi there. Don't mind me. I'm just helping my good friend fall asleep. But if you need help falling asleep, might I introduce you to AFK, a magnesium-focused sleep support supplement brought to you by Gamersupps, aiding your body's natural sleep cycle and production of melatonin. But just like how traditional Gamersupps comes with and without caffeine, AFK comes with and without melatonin, both having magnesium to help you get a good night's rest. And there's plenty of wonderful flavors, one of my favorites being cinnamon bath. Bit aside, it tastes like a snickerdoodle cookie, it's crazy. But But if you're on the fence and want to try it, Gamersupps now offers AFK Plus sample packs. Just like their other sample packs, they're free and you just pay shipping, but if you check out with my code RYTOAST, they'll cover shipping. So this is literally a free product for you to try. I cannot recommend it enough. So go to gamersupps.gg/rytoast and get your free sample of AFK Plus today. So like I said at the beginning, when Dittophobia came out, I made a theory saying that all of FNAF 4 was fake, or at least the nightmares we see in FNAF 4 are based on something the player character experienced like a fake FNAF 4. Essentially, what if the experiments we see in Dittophobia happened in the game's timeline? After all, in Sister Location, we learned that somebody who's watching the same hallways in FNAF 4 could be talking through all of the plush Fredbears out there, and the fuse map is showing us the layouts of FNAF 4 being powered by Sister Location. Not to mention, and here's where it gets crazy, what do we see throughout all of Sister Location? Pipes and tubes, and these gas tanks. Now, I want to be clear, when you're playing Custom Night, you have an oxygen meter, and if these are getting attacked, your oxygen goes down. So I want to be clear, the game implies their oxygen, but one, Custom Night is not canon, it's something that is just for the player to enjoy, and two, the actual models of these canisters themselves are not labeled. So if we have the infrastructure to be pushing gas throughout this entire facility, and dozens and dozens of canisters of unmarked gas, it's not a far stretch to say that one of the functions of Sister Location was to pump this hallucinogenic gas into this FNAF 4 testing chamber. So what's my pitch here? Am I trying to say that FNAF 4 was somebody being kept in a nightmare chamber for years on end? Well, I didn't just say nightmares. Think again to those day minigames where we walk around as the crying child and get tormented by everyone around us. In those minigames, we wake up, we are told what to do by Fredbear, we try to accomplish that, either we're in a closet, or we're trying to get to Fredbear's, or we're trying to get home. Eventually, we're terrified by something, burst out into tears, Fredbear tells us tomorrow's another day, and the minigame ends, assumingly we go to sleep. Sound familiar? This minigame could just be shortening what the crying child experiences throughout a day for the sake of being a video game. But if we take this literally, we have a child who has a horrific nightmare and then wakes up, wanders around while trying to do something, failed to do the thing, gives up, and goes back to bed. This is verbatim what Rory is doing in Dittophobia. He has a horrific nightmare, he wakes up, he tries to go to school, he can't because his mom is in the bathroom, so he gives up and he goes back to bed. This is the same thing. What if not only the nightmares, but the daytime minigames are part of these FNAF 4 testing chambers? William Afton wasn't just trying to study nightmares, he was recreating the life of his youngest son. He was recreating the day and night experiences of his child. And all of this would be in the chambers connected to the Sister Location bunker. But I can take it a step further than that, because think about the chambers we have so far. We have a fake bedroom, a fake outdoor area, and a fake pizzeria. Well, let's use our thinking caps. An underground fake pizzeria. I know another fake pizzeria, one that Henry Emily may have made for FNAF 6. Something to lure in all of the remaining people in this plot to burn them all up and put everybody to rest. But now, what makes more sense? The idea that Henry Emily made an entire fake pizzeria as a trap for the players still in this area to try to lure them in and burn them up, or Henry Emily, after realizing what's still going on, goes to visit the Sister Location bunker and finds an entire fake world down there. A fake street with fake trees and a fake pizzeria. Something connected to these maze-like chambers with gas infrastructure. Something that he could lure animatronics inside of. And once in there, for whatever reason, William Afton had already built this test facility to be able to be pumped full of gas. Now, it was used for hallucinogenic gas when it was a human. All Henry would have to do to make this plan work is source a good amount of flammable gas. Any flammable gas. Once all the animatronics are in there, use the very same infrastructure to fill it and light it, finally putting to rest the entire series. So I was making the claim that FNAF 4 was fully fake. They were chambers built to induce the life of the crying child, and then they were left attached to the Sister Location bunker. When Henry had to do FNAF 6, he went down there and used those things to lure everybody in and burn them all up to put everything to rest, literally burying everybody alive in the rubble. And it is a bit of a bold claim, built off of admittedly a crumb of evidence, but Secret of the Mimic may have very well proved it. Secret of the Mimic gave us a lot of lore about the history of Fazbear's, but mostly in the beginning of the timeline. One of the biggest crumbs of information is the origins for a lot of the buildings we see throughout the franchise. It honestly seems like William Afton likes to reuse buildings quite a lot, and we know where it started from. Through the emails you get in the game, you learn that after William Afton helped Edwin Murray ruin his business, he buys up all the land, Murray's house, the factory, and everything underneath, including the fake pizzeria that Edwin Murray was building for them, and the tunnels that connect it to the underground laboratory that's beneath Murray's house. And this layout is eerily similar to what I and many other theorists have been predicting the actual layout of the security breach environment is meant to be. The FNAF 4 house, the sister location bunker, connected via tunnel to the FNAF 6 pizzeria underneath the Pizzaplex. And this layout, this U-shaped layout, can be seen throughout most of the franchise. The FNAF 4 house is always there, sister location is always there, and the Pizzaplex, while it is a massive mall now, at some point very likely could have been either Fredbear's or Freddy Fazbear's Pizza or whatever the restaurant of the time was. And now we understand where this weird layout came from. A once very successful businessman had built this entire testing facility and connected it to his original factory, and at some point was hired by Fazbear to make a fake pizzeria under the factory to show off what Fazbear and what their animatronics could do. And it's this layout that's been reused like 4 times now. And William Afton got to buy this entire lot and renovate it as he saw fit, which is how he has the FNAF 4 house with an underground testing facility way earlier in the timeline than we previously thought possible. Think about what I've just said. This is damn near definitive proof. If this fake pizzeria, the one that we get to explore, surrounded by open rooms that could be reused, was used by Henry Emily, which again, why would there be multiple fake pizzerias in the same location? Then this is definitive proof that there is a fake pizzeria connected via architectural tunnels to the sister location bunker, or at least what would eventually become the sister location bunker. We know for a fact that there is a fake pizzeria that looks an awful like what we see in FNAF 6 and what we get to explore in Security Breach, and could work for the FNAF 4 daytime minigames, connected by a series of rooms to the place where sister location would be set up. Not to mention, on top of all of this, this infrastructure, the one that William would eventually use to make sister location and FNAF 4 into reality, would be being purchased at the same time that William Afton gets his hands on the Mimic, something that is built specifically to recreate what it sees. So if he was trying to recreate the crying child's life and death, maybe it was to put the Mimic through that. Who knows why? I can't understand the guy, but like, everything is here for this. This is our building's timeline. For whatever reason, after purchasing all of this land, William Afton continues to flesh out the fake pizzeria, use the surrounding area to make a fake outdoor area, and use the area towards sister location to make a fake house that he can put somebody in and observe whoever's inside. And he uses those to create never-ending nightmares and listless days. A near limitless supply of this hallucinogenic gas being pumped into the walkways in pizzeria and house so it looks just real enough to trick anybody who's in there. And long after William Afton's done with them, Henry Emily finds it when trying to figure out how to beat everything going on, and realizes if he can lure everybody back there, all he has to do is switch the gas to something flammable, and he can put a permanent end on this entire situation. And that's not even to mention the connection with the tape recorders. We know that in Dittophobia, there's a fake pre-recorded voice talking to Rory. These Fredbear plushes could be very well the same thing. It might not be a walkie-talkie, it might just be press the relevant button. Who knows? All I'm saying is all of the evidence keeps pointing more and more to the FNAF 4 day and night minigames being fake chambers. Now, I still think the gameplay of FNAF 4 is Michael Afton's nightmares. It's why we hear the FNAF 1 phone call. But I think those nightmares are based off of his experiences being locked in these very same chambers. And I'd put money down, not a lot, I don't make that much. I float by, especially in this economy. But regardless, I'd put money down that the next FNAF game that continues the timeline is going to show us somebody exploring the rooms we see at the end of Ruin and eventually finding their way into FNAF 4, a fake area built around the fake pizzeria. In the meantime, if you want a more informative video, last week we made a video going over the lore about Elizabeth Afton, what we do know, what's speculation, and what I think her personal timeline is. You can find that video right here. If you want your fan art featured on the channel, make sure to share with hashtag ToastArt. A huge thank you to the best channel members, the Dough Risers, and until next time, as always, stay toasty slices.